Softies! Today we're looking at slope-intercept form, and we're going to apply our parallel and perpendicular slopes knowledge to slope-intercept form linear equations. So first off, we have our formula. Slope-intercept form of a line is a formula used to write the equation of a line using the slope and y-intercept, which is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So we have our same graphic for slope like we did on our slope video. And here we have our y-intercept. And if you think about those words, y-intercept, think about an interception in sports, like you're crossing something, right? So it's going to be the place where your line crosses the y-axis. It's intercepting the y-axis, and it's specifically the y value. It's going to be b, which is going to be 0b. And notice that the x value is 0. That's always going to be the case. So if you want to find the y-intercept, substitute 0 in your equation and you'll always find the y-intercept, even if it's not a linear function. So it could be any type of function that will work. So here's our slope-intercept formula. Y equals mx plus b. And here's an image to show us how to find the slope, again, which we know is the change in y divided by the change in x. And it just shows us the point on the graph that shows us our y-intercept, that 0, b. So let's say you're given an equation. You want to write an equation through a given point that's parallel or perpendicular to that given equation. Here are the steps to solve problems like that. So you're given an equation, y equals negative 3x plus 1, and you want to make sure you write your slope as a fraction, just in case you have to find a perpendicular slope. It just makes it a whole lot easier to find the reciprocal part of the opposite reciprocal if you already have your slope written as a fraction. So we've written the negative 3 is negative 3 over 1. And our given point is negative 2, 4. Next, we want to figure out, hey, are we going parallel or perpendicular? And find the slope for that situation. So if it's parallel, it's the same slope, which is negative 3 for this example. And if it's perpendicular, you're going to take that negative 3, make it positive 3, and then you're going to make it the reciprocal, which would be 1/3. And we had it written as negative 3 over 1, which would have made it easier to find out that the numerator would now be 1 in case you wanted to go off of that. Step 3 is you're going to use the point slope formula. Why will we want to use the point slope? It's because we already have the slope and the point. The slope we just found from it being parallel or perpendicular, and the point is given to us. So then we simply substitute. Lastly, if we want to write our equation in slope-intercept form, we have to just distribute our slope into our parentheses and then get the y by itself on the left-hand side of the equation and then combine like terms. So we distributed and we got 3x minus 6, and then we added 4 to both sides. So we have y equals negative 3x minus 6 plus 4, and then finally we have our slope-intercept form, which is y equals negative 3x minus 2. So let's take a look at some practice. Line Q follows the equation y equals 1/5 x minus 3. We want to state the equation in slope-intercept form of line P, which is perpendicular to line Q and intersects at the point 2516. So we want to figure out our slope. Our current slope is 1/5, and we want to go perpendicular to that. So let's make it opposite. It's going to be a negative 1/5. And now let's make it a reciprocal. It's going to be negative 5 over 1, which is the same thing as negative 5. And we have our point 2516. So remember, the next step is to use the point slope formula. So y minus the y value, which is 16, equals the slope, which is negative 5, times the quantity of x minus 25. Okay, so we want to solve this equation for slope-intercept form. We are going to distribute our slope. So that's going to be negative 5x plus 125, because it's going to be negative 5 times a negative 25. So that's how we got our plus. And that equals the y minus 16. And now we want to add 16 to both sides to get our y by itself. So let's finish up here. Y equals, because negative 16 plus 16 is a big old 0, negative 5x, and then 125 plus 16 plus 141. And that's it. That's our slope-intercept form. It's perpendicular to our given line, and it's through that given point. And this was line P, as they said. All right, number 2. What is the equation of a line containing the point 4, -2, and also parallel to the line represented by the equation y equals 3x plus 1? Okay, so big word here, or very important word, parallel. So our current slope is 3, so our slope is 3 again, because remember, parallel lines have the same slopes. And our point's 4, -2, so let's use our point slope formula. Y minus the y value, which is -2, so minus -2 is going to be a positive 2. That equals our slope of 3 times the quantity of x minus the x value, which is 4. Now let's distribute our 3. 3x minus 12 is the right-hand side of our equation, and then we have y plus 2 on the left. Now let's get y isolated, or by itself. We'll subtract 2 from both sides. That's a 0, so y is 3x minus 14, and that's our slope-intercept form. Now I want to make sure we are taking a look at this question, and actually it doesn't tell us that we have to write our equation in slope-intercept form. So really, we were done at this step. If all it wants is an equation, well, point-slope form is an equation of the line. So that could have been a correct answer, but if you wanted to write it in slope-intercept, that's how we do it. Number 3, which of the following is the slope of a line parallel to the line y equals 5/6 x minus 3 in the standard xy coordinate plane? This is like really not too bad, because it's like one little step of the many steps we've taken on 1 and 2. All it wants to know is what slope do you have if you have a parallel line to this given line? Well, what's our slope of this line? It's 5/6. And parallel lines have the same slope, so our slope is the same. It's 5/6. And that's really all there is to that one. Number 4, we have what is the equation of the line parallel to y equals 1/2 x minus 5 and also contains the point -2, 4. So same process as before. We're going to figure out our new slope. Since it's parallel, it's going to be the same slope as our given line, and that's going to be a slope of 1/2. Now let's use our point slope form. Y minus the y value, which is 4, equals the slope, which is 1/2, times the quantity of x minus the x value, and if we subtract a -2, that's going to be a positive 2. So now we'll distribute. Y minus 4 equals 1/2 x plus 1, because 1/2 times 2 is a 1, and we'll add 4 to both sides. That's a 0. Y is equal to 1/2 x plus 5, and that's it. We're done. That's our answer. All right, Opties, that's it for slope-intercept form, including parallel and perpendicular slopes, notes, and practice. See you next time.